She said I had a story to tell, but did I have the courage to tell it? I was never one for conversation. Conversation normally left me empty and void, all the words stored in the room of my mind, unable to escape out of the cracks in the doors and windows. And then I met Jean Winslow, or rather, she had caught sight of my words, lying naked, vulnerable, on the glare of her laptop screen. "Your art is a piece of heart," she told me. And I guess it was true. Whatever didn't make it out of the room seeped down into my heart's chambers, locked away for no one to see. But even then, my heart grew weary. There is only so much one can contain. So it bled further and further away from the locked gates and stone walls, beaming through my fingertips before being cast off into the wide world. It just so happened that Jean Winslow caught a hold of the line. Looking back, I felt sorry for Jean Winslow. It's not easy to pry open a chamber that's been kept shut for fear of something. At first, I didn't understand. If I give more of myself to the manuscript, if I lay bare everything that had remained hidden and buried for God knows how many years, if I let the world know what I had to say, what would I be left with? My story, my words, my heart, all on the pages, ready for anyone to snatch up. I wouldn't even be able to take it back. Jean Winslow didn't know this. She didn't see someone afraid of losing themselves to the faded pages of a manuscript. Jean Winslow only saw a timid young woman with a story to tell. So tell that story I did. An excruciating ordeal on both ends, but it was done. There, in neat, crisp strokes, curves, dots and dashes were the words, neatly filed in line on the white canvas. Like soldiers they were now, instead of the writhing mass of chaos in my heart's chambers, ready to set forth into the world to conquer and destroy. A batch of copies had already been published, lining the shelves of several storefronts, but it was just too much. So distraught was I with the final print that I broke into Jean Winslow's office and took back my words. It had not occurred to me until I boarded the train home to burn the manuscript that my words could build things. There he was, a man sitting at the back of the carriage, holding the novel, with my name on the front cover. Intrigue, fear, and an overwhelming desire to erase myself from the scene pulsed through me in one heartbeat. Yet, there I sat, waiting, watching. An hour passed, then two. He was an abominably slow reader, but he was an expressive reader too. His eyes widened in astonishment, his mouth curled and twisted as he wrestled with the characters, and every now and then he let out a deep, mirthful laugh that bubbled its way up his throat and poured over the entire carriage like a rich honey. It was then that I realized Jean Winslow was not the villain here. She was the wise wizard. I absent-mindedly fumbled with the clasp of my briefcase and tore out the manuscript that I took back. It was then that I made two decisions. One, I would not burn the manuscript like I said I would. Two, I must speak to that man. But how? I awkwardly stood up from my seat and turned my head left and right, as if that would help me figure out what to do next. "Is everything all right, dear?" the woman next to me asked, smiling cordially. Yes, perfectly fine, thank you," I muttered back, pausing, before adding, "just stretching my legs." I was still standing, but since I just said I was stretching my legs, I had to walk somewhere to avoid looking like a fool. I told myself, I'll just walk down the aisle towards him. No big deal. As I said before, I was absolutely terrible at conversations, but I simply had to speak to that man. At that moment, a child burst from their seat, nearly knocking me over. I cursed under my breath as I righted myself and found that the man was no longer in his seat. Where could he have gotten to? I thought. I scanned the rest of the carriage, but he wasn't anywhere in sight. Then it struck me. He might have moved to the compartment to alight the train. We were reaching the last stop after all. And so, with a newfound determination, I walked through the carriage door to the other compartment. Just as I thought. The man was standing there against the door, smiling widely as he read the final pages of the book. The train slowed down as we reached the platform, and he snapped the book shut and let out a contented sigh. All right, it's now or never. So, mustering all the courage I had, I gripped the handle of my briefcase and strode over to him. Hello, I said.